impossible. The Sith have been extinct for a millennium.
I do not believe the Sith could have returned without us knowing.
Ah, hard to see the dark side is.
The Shockmaster.
They call me the Shockmaster.
They say these geeks come a dime a dozen. I'm looking for the guy who's supplying the dimes. It's gonna be real hard times for all of these grit-eating, scum-sucking, boot-licking, drop-kicking, gut-grinding, nail-biting, glue-sniffing, scab-picking, butt-scratching, egg-hatching, sleazy, smelly, pepper-bellied, dirty, lousy, rotten, stinking freaks. Nothing but a pencil-neck geek.
I bet you're wondering why I got you back here, Michael. Well, I've been watching you, and I've been studying you, Michael. And I know me and you, we want the same things.
There we go. Let me stop sharing. Sorry, guys, about this. That's the best I could do with an opening for the show because I have to really, work it out. I'm pretty ghetto when it comes to it.
I love it. It's better than anything I've done.
Welcome to the Wrestling Council, everybody. My name is Yule. You're on the Yule Carter channel, hopefully, and if not, you're following on the S&B network, and then there's a whole bunch of podcasts that this is being. Or what? Boogie, why don't you help me out with that? How are we getting heard by people?
Wherever you get your podcast needs via the Outright Geekery podcast network.
All right, awesome. My name is Yule. I'm a long fan of wrestling, and this is our 4th episode. This is the first time I've hosted the show. I'm real nervous about that because I'm not used to a whole bunch of people paying attention to me too much. But there you go. On my whatever side, we've got Antonio. Antonio, why don't you introduce yourself to everybody?
Well, hello. I'm Antonio Bryce. I'm a YouTuber and a comic book writer. I have a comic book called Brand. It's on Indiegogo right now. And hopefully 1 or 2 people will check it out. But yeah, man, I'm here. I love wrestling.
All right. Awesome. And then down below, we have Boogie Bentley. Boogie, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
I host a whole bunch of podcasts. None of that matters. I want to talk wrestling. I'm going to be aggressive tonight. I've got strong opinions. Strong opinions.
That's great to hear. I don't know exactly how I was going to actually lead the show, so maybe we just do what we do normally. But was there any wrestling that you watched that you were interested in? Guys?
Yeah, let's put Antonio on the spot. What's the best thing you watched this week?
Oh, man, that's for the end. Hold on a second.
Best thing I watched this week? I know I watched AEW Dynamite last night. I thought they had 2 matches that I thought were really, really good. The opening match with what's that party time, whatever the hell it
private
party and Lucha Brothers, which I thought that was incredible. The amount of athleticism on that match was incredible. And then I love the Kenny Omega match. Can't remember the guy that he wrestled, but that guy took some incredible bumps, especially when they were going towards the finisher. When Kenny Omega's outside the ring, and then he backflipped to try to hit Omega. Omega moved out. He took a bump like right there on the edge of the ring. And I mean, you have to, if you understand wrestling, you have to realize that he probably placed that just right so he would. Because I was like, man, if I'm not understanding about how bumps and stuff work, I'm thinking that dude probably ruining his career. it just looked like a bad bump, but he got, he was able to finish the match. But I was like, my God, he flipped and hit like right there on the edge of the ring. But I saw that move and I was like, oh.
What's crazy is the guy you're talking about is Joey Janela, who is known for bumping and taking some crazy bumps. He's known as really a garbage wrestler, like death matches. He took a bump off the top of a building into the bed of a truck. I think there was light bulbs, barbed wire boards, inches away from death. Like it's like a construction truck that had like the framework on the back of it. Dude, just Google Joey Janela death bump and it'll pop up. But
I was really impressed though.
What I liked about that match is how he was able to have a legitimate straight up wrestling match, and it was good. It was great. Which he's in there with Kenny Omega, who is one of the best in the world.
Yeah, I thought those two matches, the opening match and then the Kenny Omega match, I thought those two were spot on. Those were great. Watch SmackDown, it was awful.
So was Raw. Raw was terrible.
There was one good match on Raw I'll get to later.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm telling you, SmackDown was terrible.
Yeah, it was horrible.
Yeah, there was a good match on Raw, but what's the best thing you watched? Well, Chad Johnson is hanging out, and he's in the live chat. He's sad that Private Party lost. Chad, I DM'd you because you had to see this. You got to get that chat out of the way.
Sorry.
This is for you, buddy. This is for you, Chad Johnson.
You got to be in the circle.
I wore this just for you tonight, buddy. What's the best thing you watched this week?
There was one match on Raw that I saw that was very good, and I thought was the Seth Rollins Carrillo match.
Because I got heavy thoughts on that, but go ahead.
It really reminded me of Triple H and Taka Michinoku. And, kind of like a new guy coming in and the established veteran, Seth Rollins, I guess that's the person who it is right now, coming in and, taking him to the limit. At first, he didn't think he was like really worth his time, but the little guy stepped up. So we'll see where it goes from there. But
that's my problem. Where does it go from there?
Well,
I have no faith in WWE to give him a chance. And again, great match, great wrestling. Look at the match that took place right before that match, Andrade and Sin Cara.
Mm-hmm.
And you see that match, and Sin Cara probably took more than half of that match. He got a lot of offense in.
And they talked about him a lot too.
Yeah, but as a casual fan in the audience, they're sitting there going, why can't Andrade pin this guy? Because he's been a jobber for how long? Nobody cares about this guy. Why is he getting offense? Same with Carrillo. No matter how good he is, like when I saw him, I was like, this dude could be a star in AEW. If he was on AEW, they would be pushing him as a main event type guy. And it's believable because AEW is fresh and new. But again, that was a good match. I thought the opening match on Raw, I've got so many notes here. I'm trying to go back and find Drew McIntyre.
Yeah, good match. I was upset with the
Drew McIntyre and Ricochet, but it doesn't.
Flair a heel? I don't understand in this whole thing,
dude. The best part, one of the best parts of that match was when they interviewed Flair at ringside, and he's all fired up, and he's like, "Hogan, I'll see you Friday night, brother. Where are we at? Where are we at? Cleveland, Kansas City? Where are we at?" And the woman interviewed was like, "Well, we're in Cleveland right now." He's like, "I know where we're at right now. I'm talking about Friday." Like anybody else gets their ass jumped when they walk through the back, but it's Ric Flair. It doesn't matter if he knows where they're at on Friday. My biggest problem with Raw, and I timed it out, man, while I was watching it. There is just too much talking. It's a 3-hour show, and they're trying to fill 3 hours worth of TV time.
Boogie, it's too much talking on the 2-hour Hulu version of it.
Yeah,
or
dude,
90 minutes.
I used to watch the whole show in like 30 minutes, fast forwarding it. But it was ridiculous. That first match was really, really good.
It was.
Drew McIntyre and Ricochet was a great match to start.
I didn't like. I kind of. So going back to AEW, they had the time limit or the show ending match. So they had TV time limit return, at the end, and it was Dean Ambrose and Pac, and it went to a no contest basically, or DQ, or
time
whatever.
Limit draw.
Time limit draw. Thank you.
Broadway brother.
And that's the problem that's Raw has had for a long time. They don't have established rules that they continue to stick to. You know, you got cage matches that people leave, and it's still going on. And you have, you know, you just like stuff like that. And they don't have. I love how AEW at the very beginning of the very first match, you knew that there was a 20-minute time stipulation to this match, and it felt very WCW, NWA, that type of stuff. I like the idea that a match can end. You know,
right. It's like an MMA fight, right?
Exactly.
It's realism.
Yeah, I kind of wish. You know, I like when a British wrestler comes in and he brings British rules, you know, like they bring the round system and things like that every once in a while. And, you know, there's shenanigans involved. But WWE just doesn't do that. And if they would, they could have let Ricochet and Drew McIntyre end in a time limit draw or something.
That would have been great. 20-minute time limit.
Would have, yeah. And I mean, it would have been like, oh, wow, man, they're getting close to the 20 minutes, you know. Eventually you train your audience to think, oh boy, getting towards the 18th minute, this thing's better gonna end or else something horrible, you know. This my guy won't get on the pay-per-view or something.
Yeah.
I did like Raw as far as, you know, I like the Seth Rollins, I like the opening match. There was some I don't know, I don't think the women really had a great match that night. Of course, I only saw the short version. My
complaint, going back to the time thing, the second match didn't start, and I was Classic Caraway hanging out in the live chat. I was talking to him about this today. The second match didn't start until an hour and 13 minutes into the show. Hour and 13 minutes until that second match started. Only 6 matches on the entire card for the night. 3 hours, 6 matches. That's ridiculous. That's too much. And it's not just talking, it's in-ring talking, it's backstage talking, it's vignettes, it's promotional. It's too much, man. It's too change the show to 2 hours. Cut an hour off.
What did you think about, or have we talked about Bobby Lashley and Lana and Rusev?
This is sexy party. What do you think, Antonio?
Well, actually, that was what was the guy I watched. I subscribed to his YouTube channel. Just, you know, he left. Well, I guess he got cut from WWE. Ryback. He's got a YouTube channel.
Dude, his his YouTube channel is great too.
Yeah, and he actually talked about that. He talked about Canales asking for his release, and he's talking about the Rusev storyline, and he said Rusev's in the contract negotiation, and he was like, if he doesn't re-sign, he's going to get buried because they're going to make him just look clownish in the angle. It's just, I don't know. It just I enjoyed his perspective on it, as far as, you know, him being someone that used to get a push, and, you know, I've heard him do several shoot interviews on, you know, different streams and stuff where, you know, he'll talk about, you know, yeah, they were pushing me, and then once, you know, he got injured and tried to come back, and it's just, I don't know. I always was wondering if he was going to try to make a comeback, maybe come to AEW or something like that. But I don't know. He's pushing protein shakes and stuff now.
Well, but he's been injured, and I know he's like, I love his podcast. When he was in WWE, I didn't like him. Big muscle head, power guy. I don't know.
When he talked about the rules, that was really good, though.
He's not my type of wrestler. But when I listened to his podcast, I fell in love with the guy. I think he's a good dude. He's entertaining. He's fun to listen to. So he's been dealing with shoulder injuries, trying to get healthy. I would not be surprised at all to see him in AEW.
I heard Triple H. Yeah, Triple H, when he was when they first, you know, released him from WWE, you know, him and Triple H were like kind of going back. Triple H would go on different podcasts and say, hey man, if you don't have that charisma, you're just not going to get over. And, you know, I would just love him, you know, like going back and forth with those two going back and forth with each other. I just thought that was cool, man.
Dude, Ryback was one of the most over guys in the company at one point.
Yeah, he should have gone over Punk that one time.
He should have. He was so hot, man.
Yeah,
he never won the title, did he?
No,
didn't they say that Punk said he was unsafe though?
Oh yeah,
I think Punk was right.
Punk said he was unsafe.
But if we're talking about, like, you know, hitching the wagon to somebody, he was at that moment. He'll never get hotter than he was at that moment.
No, but it's like Braun Strowman. The WWE books these big guys, and they make them look unstoppable, unbeatable. And then they build them up to a certain point, and they make them lose, and then they have no freaking clue. They have no idea what to do with Braun Strowman right now. No clue. And so they're going to throw him out here with Tyson Fury to sell tickets in Saudi Arabia that nobody freaking cares about this pay-per-view that's coming up. And Tyson Fury is probably going to knock him out Floyd Mayweather Big Show style. And it's all for nothing. It's all for nothing but selling tickets for this stupid contract in Saudi Arabia.
Well,
I told you I had opinions tonight.
It's almost like those Saudi Arabia shows. I mean, they're really just house shows that they're airing.
Yeah.
But they signed a multi-year deal for those
it's like
pay-per-views.
it's a long-term
Yeah,
deal.
that's what I'm saying. The Saudis paid them an extraordinary amount of money to host those.
More than WrestleMania, I think they made.
Dude, it's why you have on SmackDown this coming Fridays on FS1. But you're gonna have Hogan, you're gonna have Flair, and you're gonna have Brock, all three on FS1 because of this Saudi Arabia show. It's nuts, man.
I'm almost done with SmackDown. It like I said, it feels like homework watching it now. And I was
does.
I was I'm not enjoying the show. At AEW, I've been enjoying it every week at least.
I would suggest that SmackDown is. I have listened to podcasts in the past about wrestling, and it was suggested even before Bischoff got fired that he was kind of like safe in his job because it was understood there was going to be playoffs, there was going to be World Series, you're going to move to FS1. You can't really expect too much big stuff happening for you until after all that stuff occurs. And he got fired anyway. That second episode was so bad that they just had to cut somebody off.
Well, yeah, I actually saw Bischoff. He finally, talked. What's that one podcast he appears on every week? But
83 weeks is it? 83
yeah. And he was just talking about he started realizing that he's like, I didn't see this as one of those 5 or 10 year jobs when I re-signed. He said, I thought I'd be there about 2 or 3 years, and and then he said it did. I obviously did. I didn't make it that far, but he just started feeling like he was not part of the culture there. The company had changed dramatically since the other 2 or 3 times he'd worked there.
Yeah, when he was an on-air talent, he was probably at his best. I'm back. That kind of stuff. When he was kissing Linda McMahon, that was hilarious.
I suggest bringing him over to AEW, but I remember when him and Hogan went over to TNA.
We don't want that.
Well, don't give him any real control. I mean, again, if he's a character, I think he's wonderful. 2 things about the Rusev thing I want to ask about, one thing I want to say. Rusev is looking ripped.
Dude, he looks great.
That guy is a star. He's got a great stash going.
I know him, and they live in Nashville.
Yeah, they go to a lot of Preds games.
Yeah.
Oh, really? My other question.
Stuff. I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
My other thing about it is kind of a question. Does this ever work out when you're doing the whole angle where your wife is like cheating on you? I mean, I can't think of too many times.
I was telling my wife about it, and it was like, I think Vince does it just to sit back and laugh. And it's like, these are my puppets. I can do whatever I want with them. This is your wife. I can make her kiss this dude over here, and you got to watch. I'm going to make you stand in the ring and watch, and I think it's funny. I'm just going to sit back and laugh because it's hilarious to me because I'm the billionaire puppet master. It's stupid, man.
I want to say hey to Rod, who just said hi to us. Hey,
Where's
Rod.
Lul? Why is Lul not in the live chat?
I think he's traveling right now. I'm not quite sure. But he'll be on someday. He hates wrestling.
I agree. I think Rusev is a star. I think you take him, we talk about AEW and the size of everybody. You take him and put him there, he's an instantly main event guy. Instantly. Great wrestler.
I think he's main event guy. He's really, over the years, he's won me over. And he has never gotten the heat that he should have got, or maybe got the wrong kind of heat. When Lana said that they were married or getting married, that was like, he was Vince's, again, you can do anything you want. I can get your wife to kiss some other dude. I think they did it off camera, but it's a little uncomfortable. There was a woman, obviously. There was a whole situation. I won't say anymore. Randy Savage and Hulk Hogan, all that stuff. I mean, they weren't really doing a love connection, but it was kind of there. And then, their whole relationships kind of whack also. I I don't know. I think Lashley, again, talking about stupid angles that people are involved in, he is doing a really good job at it, I think. I mean, it's not something I really want to see, but if I have to see it, I think he's doing a lot better than if you took Lashley of, when Donald Trump was having the hair versus hair match with Vince. Lashley was just a stump there. Talking about swagger. That was Lashley basically.
He's got that look though. That's the thing. I thought they thought he was going to be a Goldberg type, but boy, and then they put that mic in his hand.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, that's the problem.
It's a soft voice, yeah. That too.
It was that kind of deal. And I was like, he just doesn't have it. And going back on what Boogie said about, I do see a kind of a hole on the AEW roster. I feel like they need a guy that's a bruiser type, like an Abyss. They need like an Abyss type character.
You don't think John Moxley can fill that role?
He's not big enough. Not a monster.
They need, they need a Kane. They need somebody like
big
that,
dude.
Yeah,
who's out there? Right
Luchasaurus. You could say Luchasaurus, but now he's hurt.
Yeah. And I thought at least with the women that's what Awesome Kong was going.
We haven't even seen her yet.
Well,
really?
Yeah, but I tweeted out her. She did some radio promotion. And she tweeted out, that's what I tweeted out a few days ago, where I thought, because she got brought in not only as in-ring talent, but as, as like a producer, and, she's like, helping to train the young guys, I guess. And I thought she had an interesting conversation about how the AEW handles insurance for the wrestlers versus how WWE handles insurance for the wrestlers, which
not at all.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Al Snow always talk about. He's like, as a wrestler, you're an independent contractor, and now, AEW is actually, giving you yearly health care. That sounds really. I'm surprised that the cons agreed to that. That's even Ted Turner didn't do that when WCW was going on. So
but they had guys like Bischoff, who's old school, and Hogan eventually, and Kevin Nash, and they got big. Well, they were giving out really big contracts to a lot of people anyway, but.
You need insurance.
Those guys, they had guarantees. With Kevin Nash or Scott Hall were injured all the time. I'm going to rehab.
NBA players they make a lot of money, and they still have insurance through the union and everything. And that's another one of those controversial things where I've heard some wrestlers going, hey, WWE needs a union. And they actually need some kind of union so that. And, obviously Vince, when people have talked about that, Vince has kind of weeded those guys out and got them up out of there. Like I said, I was just interested in the conversation because I was surprised to hear that AEW was actually taking care of their wrestlers and giving them a health and dental and all that kind of. I was like, oh, that's cool. I was like, because that was a big thing that I've heard about for years with a lot of these wrestlers. That is once you're, especially like watching a documentary like Bret Hart Wrestling with Shadows, and he got hurt in the ring, but he was sitting at home, and he, that money wasn't coming in like they paid his medical bills
down,
and he was like, so he rushed to come back, and he was still kind of injured, but he came back, just because when you're not in the ring anymore, you're not of any use to Vince, so. That's what it is.
And another thing about insurance and unions and stuff like that, the concept that is often floated out there is that, a wrestler gets insurance and the tendonitis starts acting up a little bit more than it probably should have in the past. If I need to get out there and get to the pay window, I might ignore the fact that my knee is hurting. A football player in the season might, I'm hurting, I don't want to play, but it's the playoffs or the Super Bowl. It's a broken arm. I'll go out there.
You guys talking about Kevin Nash. Did you see his tweet about AEW?
Too small a guys, I'm assuming he's going to say.
No, he was ripping on the Cody Rhodes segment where Cody was doing the whole bit with Jericho, and he was like, in the other company, I can step outside these ropes and I can come up there and kick your ass, and it doesn't matter. And he said, that's all fine and dandy until you bring DDP out. Because when you bring veterans out in Raw, all you AEW fans complain about it. But yet you all go nuts when DDP comes out. And I kind of agree with him. I would have rather seen somebody else come out. And, there's different people they could have used there instead of DDP. I don't know. I like that segment. I thought that segment was great because Jericho's running his mouth. The baby faces come out. They come up. They fight. And then Jericho's like, whoa, 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 get away from me. Typical heel, backs down. I liked it. But I don't like DDP in that role.
There was a couple things in there. Jericho says, "Who wears a scarf?"
That was great, man.
And then
so good.
And then Cody Rhodes uses that scarf to punch in the window.
Yeah,
that was nice. Also,
I love
very
the
good.
chickens, man. They run their mouths until the odds are even, and then they run away. That's what heels do. That's why you hate them. But how many times in WWE do you see these angles where the baby faces end up being the ones that look that way? No, you got the heels. The heels. I'm trying to remember. I think it was the Freebirds. Man, who was it? It was something like, I'm going to make up a name. I'm going to say the Freebirds versus Midnight Express. It was two heel teams that were going head to head, and it was like whichever heel team came out with the most heat was going to be pushed as the top heel team in that territory. And the Freebirds immediately cowered and said, "No, don't hit us, don't hit us." Well, you're the instant heel because you're being a chicken. Then you jump in the ring and you're like, come on. No, dude, you be a chicken. I did it. My little cup of coffee in the wrestling business, dude. You come out, you run your mouth, you act tough. And then when the baby faces come out, no, please don't hit me in the mouth. I don't want none. Yeah. It was great. It was great. I love that segment.
Yeah. Heels being heels are great.
Yeah.
A cower, a cheat.
Yeah.
What do you think? All right. So, you'll see a lot more faces these days grab for the bottom rope and stuff like that. That was usually a heel thing in the early days, right?
Yeah.
What do you think about that? I mean, I mean, you're trying to bring realism to it. The one thing that I could always rationalize in wrestling is if an MMA guy comes in and is pulling his bull that they're doing in the MMA, I could grab a rope and it could break the hold, Your leg lock isn't that important if you have to break it,
Well, when I was wrestling as a heel, I would. That's the last desperation. Grab the rope.
Yeah.
The babyface needs to outsmart me. If I've got him in a hold, he needs to be able to reverse it. Out wrestle me. I'll take the easy way out. You out wrestle me is the way it should be. But that might be an old school mindset. But that's how I was trained.
Plus, you have a lot of tweeners now.
You do.
These guys. I'm not a good guy. I'm not a bad guy. I'm just the guy.
Right. Well, look at Becky Lynch. Look at the man. When Becky Lynch tried to turn heel, that's when she skyrocketed to the top baby face in the company.
It's really hard to be a face and be adored by everybody. The Hulk Hogan days are gone.
You can't come out anymore and go, "Come on, brother."
Yeah.
They don't care.
Oh, what are you doing? Sucking up to the crowd?
Yeah,
that's such an indie thing to do. Yeah. Oh, come on.
It's hard, man. It's a tough thing to get over as a baby face.
Mm-hmm.
But you can, and if Classic's still in the live chat down there, Brian Caraway, I'll argue with you till I'm blue in the face. When the New Day were heels and they were doing stuff that was cool, I kept telling them, you can't do that. If you're a heel, you got to be a heel. You can't do stuff that's cool. And we talked about them wrestling the Usos. And he was like, well, the Usos aren't cool. And I'm like, the Usos are a great tag team. The problem is you put them against the New Day or out there doing cool, funny stuff. Now they're not cool anymore. The Usos aren't as cool as the New Day. The New Day, if they're going to be heels, they got to be cheating. They got to do stuff that pisses you off. It's like Kevin Owens as a heel. Kevin Owens as a heel doesn't do cool stuff. He does anything cheating and anything to piss you off that he can, because that's what a heel should do.
And he gets that too.
Yeah, he knows how to be a heel. He's great at it.
Well, there you go.
Antonio there you go. Speaking of heels, one of my favorite things I watched this week, and I just I saw it on social media, so I fast forwarded through NXT just so I could watch it, and that was Finn Balor heel turn. Did you guys see that?
No, I didn't actually see that.
So the end of the show, I think Roderick Strong was defending his title against Keith Lee and
Jovich,
whatever they're calling Donovan Dijak. I don't know what his name is.
That one dude's big.
They're both
Really
big,
meaty.
dude. Keith Lee's great. They're
Yeah.
both well. Keith Lee definitely straight out of PWG, but so after the match is over, Undisputed Era comes out. It's a big brouhaha. The Hill's beating them down. Baby faces come out. Tommaso Ciampa comes out. Johnny Gargano comes out. You're getting the DIY chants. They're coming together as a babyface tag team facing off against Undisputed Era, but it's 4 against 2. What are the baby faces going to do? Go ahead and cue Finn Balor's music. He comes out, so you're thinking 4 on 3. Everybody's going nuts. Boom, Finn Balor turns on Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa, and he walks out. Everybody's doing the Undisputed Era, and he's just standing there. I love it, dude. I love it because it's almost like Bailey, a guy that these people say can't be a heel. Yeah, he can. And I think Finn Balor as a heel with the Undisputed Era, freaking call him up to the main roster and let's rock and roll.
NXT is their best show. Don't screw with it.
That's
I
true.
mean, it's not-
That's true. They didn't drop Finn Balor down there for nothing.
Yeah,
They're gonna stay there.
he's but not only that, but they've been having a hard time with him ever since they let him win the championship and he got injured.
Yep.
Vince is like, oh, I'm assuming he's like, this guy's gonna get injured. He's small. We gave him a chance. That's it. You know, putting him on NXT. You know, I mean, the 2 hours does really, it does hurt the program a little bit. You know, the 1 hour episodes were wonderful, but getting Balor on will help it out a lot, I think. Also, on NXT, I really enjoyed what's that guy's name? Cameron Grimes.
Yep.
What's his real name? Or
Trevor
Trevor
Lee
Lee.
wrestled right over the mountain in North Carolina.
Oh,
me.
really?
Yeah, I've seen him on many local shows.
I know. I think Bruce Mitchell like talks that guy up a lot.
He's
It's
great,
like his
dude.
only small guy he likes.
He's another guy. Like I said, he's right over the mountain in North Carolina from me. But he got the call out to PWG and then he took off.
Yeah, that's how I knew about him. Him wrestling. Oh, and I like Barefoot dude also. What's his name?
Matthew Riddle.
Oh, Matt Riddle. Yeah, the bro guy. I like him a lot too. And I thought that match. It was funny because like just prior we had basically a debut in Rhea Ripley, and she beat EST. I can't remember.
Which they've been pushing her like crazy.
I know, and I was really surprised that she took the loss. And then Matt Riddle basically was in the same kind of match with Trevor Lee or Cameron Grimes, and Cameron Grimes took the loss. But those were really good matches, both of them. But I like Matt Riddle a lot, even if he's barefoot. I dig him a lot,
Dude, he's going to be a star.
Yeah,
he's gonna be
definitely.
A star.
I want to see him versus Brock. Like he's kind of like.
He's hyping it. He's hyping it. It would be great.
Yeah. I don't know. NXT is good. I think AEW overall was my favorite. There was one thing
That's me.
I didn't really enjoy Britt Baker in her match. I don't think I really enjoy her. She has a lot of face, is what I said. She has a lot of face.
Well,
and
the thing is, we mentioned, I mentioned on some of the other show, that we've done. They're trying to, I kind of wish that they would do the women's stuff kind of like TNA knockouts, where the women can wrestle, but they still kind of keep it sexy. They're trying to be more serious with it. I'm not really into the women wrestling stuff as much. Although I grew up with what was it, Medusa and Scary Sherry,
and Sherry,
and all that, all that, but then obviously they transitioned her into like a manager, and she was handling the Macho Man. Randy said, "Ooh, yeah."
She was great in that, and I really enjoyed when she was with Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels gives her a lot of props.
Yeah, boy toy. Yeah, that's when they came out with
I didn't know how to do anything, and she told me how to.
Oh man, yeah. Now that's absolutely, because I remember when Shawn Michaels came over from AWA. Well, they both what was his tag? Was it Marty Jannetty?
Yeah,
and they I remember when they both came over from AWA, because I used to watch them and Kurt Hennig, which that was one thing on SmackDown. Kurt Hennig's son, I think they just got him as a jobber though.
Yeah, what the heck, man? Yeah, you knew when you saw him come out, it's like, well, okay, he's gonna lose in no amount of time.
I would, if I'm him, definitely cut the hair. He's got a big, like when he's got a big bald spot going, and he's not that old. So I'm like, dude, you're not even quite 30 yet, and you've got a bald spot and everything. It doesn't look good on television. So, but he's trying to do, he does the moves that his dad did. He's got like a nice size. He does the perfect plex.
He's not a bad wrestler.
I'm
He's good to break the chains, right?
Grandfather and father are both, pretty, pretty established wrestlers. It's a shame though. I hate when I see, you like second, third generation guys, and they get, that was kind of the thing when Cody came in and they paired him with Ted DiBiase Jr. If I was a betting man, I would have definitely bet on Ted DiBiase Jr. He had a better physique. It just seemed like his in-ring stuff was better. Neither one of them were good on the mic though. So that led me to Ted Jr. But
they gave Cody more opportunity. He got to do that whole dashing Cody Rhodes bit.
Yeah, but that was years later. That was
that's true. You're right.
Yeah, I'm talking about when they first came in and they had them working together. It's like, what was it? Because the whole thing was both of our fathers were legendary wrestlers.
Well, weren't they with Randy Orton also? And he was the guy that was the center.
Yeah, well, I don't even remember what they were called. Did they even have a name?
Yeah, it didn't last.
I'm sure they did.
That's when then they moved off into Evolution and all that kind of stuff. So I just but no, I'm actually, where is Ted DiBiase Jr.? Is he even wrestling?
No,
anymore?
I don't think he wrestles. I don't know what he does.
That's a shame because I really was wanted him to be, like I said, I was like, man, he's got a great physique. He's got that look. He just doesn't. He's trying to do his dad's gimmick. It just didn't work for him. Yeah. And whatever happened to him, Cody kept working. And so you see Cody
left also. He left. He had that whole list that he tweeted out that he wanted to do. Be part of Bola. I want to wrestle.
He bet on himself, man. He bet on himself, and it paid off.
And AJ Styles had already said that you can make money on the independents. You can kind of going to Antonio and his other life. EVS is kind of that way. He left the big company and showed I can do something big.
Huge gamble. Huge gamble, man.
I love how wrestling and comics always connects. I didn't want to bore anybody with all sorts of comic stuff, but that's the one thing
that's a perfect comparison because it's the same thing. You're taking something that is comfortable and throwing it out the window to bet on me and me alone. Nobody. It's like listening to EVS talk about putting out Blood Honey, and it's like, I didn't know how to do this. I'm learning as I go because I'm betting on me and I'm just doing it. And that's the ultimate success story.
And I'll tell you, the guys that have been doing this longer than all the guys that are doing it well right now, the Young Bucks. Oh. They've owned their own promotion. They've been at PWG. They basically are like funders of them also. They've gone to Ring of Honor. They had a stint in TNA. You got to watch the shoot video they do with Kevin Steen. And they're like, we're going to go back to Impact. We'll go back to Impact. Don't go back to Impact.
Have you seen the rumors that they're going back?
No, are they?
Impact Wrestling is doing a one-night TNA reunion show, and there are rumors of Generation Me coming back for that show.
Well, they better not do that Jackson BS because they should be the Bucks, and they should go over anybody that they're going on that show with.
Where is Impact Wrestling airing now? They were on
Access now.
Dude, we should make a pact this week that we stab WWE in the back and we watch Impact Wrestling this week and talk about it. We should make that pact.
Let's do an Impact.
Because I was going to watch Impact Tuesday night and I forgot, like Antonio just said, they changed the channel to Access TV and it wasn't on my DVR, so I couldn't watch it. But let's go back to the Bucks. I want to talk about the Bucks because I tweeted out because it was so cool, man, to see the Young Bucks versus the Best Friends on a national stage with Rick Knox as the referee.
Yes.
And Excalibur on commentary.
That's as PWG as you get right there.
And I knew you would appreciate that too. Yeah. I tweeted it out, man. And Matt Jackson freaking put a heart on it. I'm like, really, dude? Like you just finished wrestling. You own this company and you're favoriting some schmuck's tweet. But that just goes to show you how cool the Bucks are, man.
They are, man.
They're so fan interactive. They're great. But that's just cool, man. Anybody that has listened to the first 3 episodes of this show know that me and Yul are PWG fanboys. Yeah. But it's so cool to see those PWG, those Southern California boys making it to the big time.
I started checking out some of their stuff after YouTube was so big on it. I was like,
dude,
I don't know.
Dude,
watch PWG hype videos.
You watch a hype video for any DVD, you're like, I gotta buy it. I've got every PWG DVD for probably the last three or so years. They're so good.
So if you're a fan of tag team wrestling, you have to get DDT. What is it? DDT 8? Is that how they call it? I don't remember. I'm so horrible now. It's DDT though. It's their tag team 2-night tournament basically. And if you like single wrestling with tournament brackets, you got to see the Battle of Los Angeles.
Oh yeah, Bola is the best show.
It's 2 nights at least, sometimes 3, depending. And they always get super awesome local talent. They fly in really great people, like they've had Trevor Lee. They've had, Kyle O'Reilly, basically Red Dragon, all the people from Ring of Honor, TNA, when they were able to act. Since PWG doesn't air live, they're allowed to get people to come and wrestle for them because they're only
you look at anywhere. You look at Impact, Brian Cage, Sammy Callahan. You look at NXT. You got Trevor Lee, Keith Lee, Donovan Dijak, everybody. It's the who's who, man.
But wait a minute, so. That was you guys just sparked one of the things that I definitely wanted to mention on here. What I tweeted out 2 nights ago, the fact that CM Punk is putting out there that I'd be happy to return,
dude. If you could, Antonio, if you could pick, where would you want to see him?
I think CM Punk and AEW would be huge. I feel like Vince would pay him to stay out of AEW.
Yeah.
I definitely think that needs to be where he goes, and not to mention, it sounds like just based on some of the what was it? I know when Punk did Chris Candido's podcast, although I heard they sued each other and stuff. But when he went on with him, that he seemed to have a problem with Triple H. He seemed to have a problem with Vince. So and that they kind of forced him, or really put pressure on him to wrestle while he was still physically injured. It's like he's telling Vince, "Hey Vince, I'm back's messed up. Something's wrong with my leg. What? Hey, can't you just work a little bit, or just really put?
Can't you go out there?"
Yeah, he said the trainer. That was another thing he said that the trainer. Even though the trainer's supposed to be independent, obviously he's working for Vince, so he's pushing you in that direction. So I always thought that was interesting because I listened to a couple of interviews with Punk back then, and then Vince. I think Vince went on the Stone Cold podcast or one of those podcasts, and he responded to some of the things.
Network, I think, yeah,
because at that time I know Stone Cold was definitely part of. I know they were streaming his thing on the WWE network, but. I thought the whole thing was interesting because but like I said, I think CM Punk going to AEW would be huge. I think that would.
It's like I told you guys, if I was Tony Khan, I would I would say how much. Just tell me how much. I'll give you whatever you want. Throw some ridiculous number out. I'll give it to you because any casual WWE fan, you advertise it, you put commercials out. CM Punk is coming. They're going to tune in.
Does he own the name though?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Dude, he's been using CM Punk for.
And you get that band to come out and play Living Color. Look in my eyes.
Yeah, man. But I would no. It's not a matter of if he's coming back now. It just because before when he was trying to do the MMA thing, I think he thought he was going to be successful in that.
What an idiot! What an idiot!
No, he was really working his ass off trying to do that, and he just wasn't built for that. That wasn't what it is. He's in. Well,
you don't
shape.
just magically learn how to fight in 2 years. I've been doing jiu-jitsu off and on for 4 years, and I get wrecked every single Tuesday and Thursday night. You don't learn how to do jiu-jitsu. You don't learn how to be a world-class striker in 2 years. Sorry.
So,
But this is the first interview I've ever seen where he said maybe.
Yeah, because he was
It's
getting
always
irritated.
been no. It's always been no.
You know, he went on when he was trying to do MMA. He went on ESPN. I think it was Outside the Lines, and he was like, "I'm not doing wrestling anymore. I'm here to talk about MMA." He didn't want to take those questions, and now he's like, "Yeah, I'd be interested in
Getting punched in the face sucks, man. I'm down to wrestle again.
Yeah, so yeah, that's what I'm telling me. He's definitely coming back. I would love to see him. I keep saying Alberto Del Rio, El Patron. I would love to see Alberto Del Rio in AEW. Those are guys that I'm really looking for, which I think they're going to be over there. I just think however non-compete clauses and all that kind of stuff work out.
But you know what excites me is guys when their contracts start ending in WWE. If AEW keeps doing what they're doing, guys' contracts are going to expire, and then they're going to be able to jump ship. You know, we saw the Randy Orton tweet, and
yeah, that was the other one. I forgot.
It could have been a huge troll job. I don't know. It could have been a huge troll job just to get people worked up.
Jericho is on his Instagram going, "Yeah, I'll talk to a couple guys and see what I can do for you."
Send me a picture, kid. Send me a picture and some highlights.
Okay.
But what was interesting to me, and I don't have it in front of me right now, the people that he tagged, the Revival, that's a tag team that would flourish. Dude, the AEW tag team scene is money. Money.
I don't know. But like I said, I would love to see RKO over there.
Dude, I thought when you said that on one of the first shows we did, I was like, never going to happen. Never going to happen. And then he tweets that, and I'm like, money talks, man. You get a guy like Randy Orton in AEW, it's on, brother. It's on.
Matches I really want to see are Bryan Danielson or Daniel Bryan versus CM Punk, because they both have the best in the world.
Dude, can you imagine that match?
5 seconds thing.
That match in AEW? Sign me up, man.
I would never let Daniel Bryan come over to AEW. I just don't see it. Although I was surprised because he was legitimately, you know, that when he was out, that was you know, he had really been advised, you know, not to wrestle anymore. You know,
but he was getting CTE scans by all sorts of people that were clearing him. He got the
There were rumors that he was going to tell WWE to screw off.
I think that's why he started wrestling again, is because like they signed him to. I was like, God, they signed him just as AEW was starting off their first couple things, and I mean, I've been dreaming about him versus Punk at the height of their powers, you know, for some time.
What they do that once? They did it once in WWE.
Yeah, and DB went over, but it wasn't the same. It was like saying goodbye, basically.
Yeah.
For Punk, and that, I mean, you know, for little guys, that'd be awesome.
Wait a minute. Now, there was something I saw on one of the little dirt sheet sites that I watch. Edge is not doing the podcast anymore, and they were talking about the possibility of Edge making a return to the ring.
I saw that too.
Now
I got to address this real quick. Brian Caraway, that's one of the biggest mistakes I've ever made in wrestling. Was hating on the Revival, and it was because there was a team in NXT at the time right before them, Blake Murphy and who was his tag team partner? I can't remember. They were great
with Alexa Bliss, right?
Yeah. And the Revival was basically the same version of them. If you had pushed them, they could be in the same spot as the Revival. That was my problem with the Revival at the time. That's a whole side story. Classic. Quit interrupting the show, Antonio. Where were we?
What we were talking about the possibility of Edge actually coming out of retirement. I mean,
he would not. It would be WWE all the way.
Yeah, but
I don't.
His wife's working in NXT. It's got to be right.
So is Dean Ambrose's wife.
Yeah, but he left.
Dude, I'm telling you,
when the contract is up, trust me, we know.
Never say never.
I think the big guy that will ultimately go to AEW is going to be not Luke Gallows.
I definitely see him going.
The beardy guy.
Yeah, Luke Gallows is.
He's out of there.
Luke Harper.
Luke Harper.
Yeah, he's been he asked
he's been in and out like for years now.
And didn't he ask for his release and they denied it? And the same thing happened to Kanellis. Mike Kanellis asked for his release and I thought he was gone. I thought he was going back to Ring of Honor to reform the Kingdom, and all the next thing I hear is they denied it.
Yeah,
crazy, man, crazy.
It'd be crazy to let him go now, because if you let him go, even if you go, okay, 6 month non-compete or whatever, you know he's going to sign. I see him sign with AEW.
I don't know if he's good enough to matter. He's kind of boring.
I like the guy. I like him.
His whole gimmick was that he wrestled WWE style, right? In Ring of Honor. And, that was kind of like, that's a good heel thing to do.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
But
I like him because he's a true heel, is what I like about him. Yeah.
I like his wife.
She's got one good ass at.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Well, usually if you get him, you get her also. So good at the bad, right?
I love it.
Speaking of WWE style, that's something that I had in my notes here. I say that like we all sat down in my living room and watched AEW together. When I'm watching AEW, every match feels like almost pay-per-view quality.
Mm-hmm.
Like it feels like they say, go out there and tear the house down. Whereas in WWE, you're getting a specific style of match.
Yeah. They're going to face the camera at the right way. They're going to leave the ring at the right time for the commercial.
They're gonna do something on the floor right before the commercial, and they're gonna, or if it's tagged, they're gonna stare each other off. It's so annoying. It's so annoying, the WWE style, and it's like like that first match, Drew McIntyre and Ricochet. They said, okay, go out there and have a little bit better than a TV match. Go out there and have almost a pay-per-view quality match, and it was a great match. But it just goes to show that there are so many guys in WWE that if they were in AEW, they would be having amazing matches. But WWE, for whatever reason, doesn't give them the opportunity. It's go out there, have a 6-minute match, do a little bit, and take it.
I mean, everything is like, we got to get this. It's like when you hear that WrestleMania is going to be 17 hours, and like 15 of them are going to be entrances.
It's 17 hours, and then they still put 4 matches on the pre-show. It's like, what the hell, man?
It's kind of cookie cutter. That was the one reason why you would actually want to see a pay-per-view match.
Yeah.
The thing I was finding, and this was a very it's something that happened in the 90s a lot. Stone Cold somebody gets to the ring, Stone Cold stuns them. Another person gets the ring, kick, stunner. These guys that are main event talents, maybe Shawn Michaels or Bret Hart, are stunned in the ring after one shot. How am I to believe that they're going to have, or why should I believe that they're going to have a prolonged match during a pay-per-view? I mean, I'm going to be spending my money for this. So, it's kind of like, well, I'm a fan. I want to see good wrestling, not just television stuff.
You can take that 2 different ways. Because what I say is, one of the things I liked about NXT was when you got the 45-minute TV show and you built everything up. But we're seeing some of that in AEW. Mm-hmm. You don't see the same guys every week. They're mixing it. Like, look at the women. Rio's not on TV this week, and they're mixing it up. So, but in WWE, I'm trying to think who has been wrestling each other every damn week. And then they're going to be wrestling each other on the pay-per-view. It's like, I've seen them wrestle 17 times leading up to the pay-per-view. What difference does it make? I've already seen this. I don't care anymore.
We're going to see this until the Saudi Arabia show.
Yeah, it's so stupid, man.
And then the match where we have the Raw people versus the SmackDown people.
Does anybody care about that match? Anybody? I don't even think the people in the match care about it. Team Flair versus Team Hogan. Does anybody?
Yeah.
Are we going to have to watch that? Because it's Thursday morning at what, 11, 12?
I'll watch it.
Did you actually see Hogan when they did his promo spot? He was on Skype and it was not
also.
It was so bad.
Why are you showing a Skype call? You are a $1 billion company. Send a cameraman to his house.
He's like, well, you know something, brother? And I was like, it just seemed really awkward, and I was like, man, I think Hogan used to be good at that. I was like, I was like, hey, we got a Skype call with Hulk Hogan. I was
what the heck, man? The Wrestling Council is higher quality than that.
That's right. Let me next week's show, just to let everybody know, it will be on Akari Press, right? Am I right
Yep.
there?
That is correct.
All right. I have one question for you guys going back to AEW. I wanted to hit you on this about Britt Baker. They did often have a conversation about her being a dentist.
Oh my gosh, just
back
let it go.
Back in Pittsburgh. She's a dentist. She's a
Let
doctor.
it
So
go.
my question to you guys is, who is your favorite doctors in wrestling?
The only real doctor, Dr. Isaac Yankem.
Yeah.
What about Dr.
Dane,
Death,
yes.
Steve Williams?
No, because that's not funny enough. That's too legit. I like Dr. Isaac Yankem.
I thought we could get which one? You like Isaac Yankem? Okay, very good. We had other doctors. We can you name any? I can't remember who I wrote down. I don't have my list in front of me right now. I know I sprung this on you, but I thought
Isaac Yankem is the first one that comes to mind.
Yeah. That was the last one. I mean, it was in my head, but it was the last one I wrote down.
Going back to my amazing wrestling career, we wrestled with a guy named Dr. Dan that came out with full scrubs and a mask and everything. Just terrible, just awful.
Let me ask you about this then. I've been noticing during the SmackDown broadcast, they've been advertising that streaming service, that Fox Nation or whatever, and they're using what's the guy, Brodus Clay or whatever, the Funkasaurus.
Dude, isn't he like a Fox News guy?
Yeah.
I'm saying he's promoting with them, and I was like, somebody tell my mom. And I'm like, oh,
wasn't the Usos' wife in that one?
Get Naomi back out there.
Yeah,
Dancing.
it was great. They came out and danced. They're all in neon and everything. It was pretty awesome.
I wasn't mad at it.
That was oh god.
Brodus Clay came out. That was the only problem.
Yeah.
Weird seeing him like talk on, and he's just, and I was like,
gigantic. He's gigantic. He's gigantic.
Yeah, that dude's huge. He's the Funkasaurus. And I was like, when you're the Funkasaurus, you're probably not going to make it to the WWE Hall of Fame.
Oh, I remembered another doctor, the doctor of Thugonomics, John Cena.
Oh,
yeah.
There we go.
We're like, yeah.
See, I Googled it, but I couldn't see him.
Well, hell.
Yeah.
So we all agree that we thought AEW was pretty darn good.
Yes.
Definitely
Big
over
thumbs.
all the other ones. Yeah.
It's like Antonio said. WWE right now feels like homework. I was almost to the point that I'm so close to being done with WWE.
Yeah.
But because of the show, I feel like we owe it to people that listen to
stuff for us. So I'll be able to put it, so I can bitch about something, I guess.
so you can form strong opinions.
Some things I can pin my hat on when it comes to WWE. I did actually like that Seth Rollins match with the Carrillo guy.
I agree with that. That was a good match.
I'm looking forward to see what happens.
I enjoyed the Miz's promo, the Miz TV segment when they did that. And he brought the two ladies out, and I can't remember. I like to say I'm not into women's wrestling that much, but he had the one woman. I know Snoop Dogg's cousin was what's that? Alexa Bliss.
No, Sasha Banks.
Sasha Banks.
And Bailey turned heel.
Yeah, and
that was great when she was whacking those noodles.
and well, the one wasn't talking, and he said, "What are you, Brock Lesnar?" He's I was like, that was beautiful. And
I actually have that in my notes. A champion that doesn't talk. What are you, Brock Lesnar?
And I don't think that was scripted. I think Miz is great with those one-liners. That's why a lot of people hate on Miz, but there's a reason why he keeps getting commercials and movies and stuff.
Yeah.
WWE. I actually was arguing with somebody. They go, he hadn't had a real championship run in a while. I was like, you idiot. Look at all the movies and the commercials he's doing. Make-A-Wish for him. They're having him. He was like, at one point, he was like the second most requested outside of John Cena. And he was getting those kind of. And I was like, that's telling you he's having an impact whether he has a strap or not. You know what I'm saying? They use him a lot of times when they're trying to bring up new talent. They let him work with Miz because he knows how to put those guys over and all that. So he's going to have a long, sustainable career because he's great on television. You know, you'll see him on like Kelly and Ryan. He'll get to go on those shows and stuff like that. He's good on television. That's why
he's a Hollywood guy.
That's what I'm saying. It's
and that's like his gimmick, and it works.
Yeah, I'm like,
and his wife is too, really.
Yeah, I'm like,
they're a pretty couple. Now they've got kids. You know,
I don't got a kid. Do they have another one?
Well,
is she pregnant? She's pregnant.
In the oven, I do.
Okay, because I was like, yeah, I follow both of them on Instagram. I know because pictures of the little girl in the crib and all that. I was like, oh, okay.
I know we're at an hour, but I got to ask one last thing before we wrap this thing up. WWE 2K20. Antonio, did you buy it?
I was about to buy it, and then I started watching the YouTube videos.
Yep. That killed me too, because you getting excited got me excited. I was like, I'm gonna buy it. Antonio will buy it. We can talk about it on the show. I saw all these videos. I'm like, not buying it.
No,
it's bad.
There were people that were flown out to Shield for the so they could review it, and they were like, hey, those guys were real nice to me, but the game's got some problems. So I was like, I
feel like video games anymore, the way it's changed and everything's digital, it's like, let's just release it, then we'll fix it, and then we'll put a patch out.
Yeah, because that's what the one guy I watched, he did like a 20-minute video where he was breaking down all the problems, and there were a few things he showed some screenshots, some of the renderings on the way the hair moves didn't quite it looked real stiff. It looked kind of like maybe 10 years ago.
Yeah.
They've got new programmers working on it, and I'd be shocked if the people that were doing, because the current program started on WWE 2K19, and then then we've got WWE 2K20. I'd be surprised because I keep hearing these rumors that there's going to be an AEW video game next year.
Yeah, they can do that.
Yeah, I'd be very surprised. Because they definitely need a couple of more big names to put in.
Pac all the way. That mother could do some moonsaults and stuff.
Yeah, that would be really cool.
That one on the outside. Yeah, you gotta look. That was the ropes, and
that was crazy.
Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. Right on Moxley. That was good. Oh yeah. Anyhow. Everybody, next week we are going to be on Ikari Press, Antonio's station on YouTube here. Follow him on all platforms, Ikari Press.
Yeah, everywhere.
My name is Yule Carter. You can follow my station. You're here already. Or if you're not and you're hearing it and you want to see us on YouTube and chat in the links, follow the S&B Network, follow Ikari Press, and follow Yule Carter. That's UEL Carter, like the president. And it's every Thursday at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern. Thank you very much for showing up. Anybody want to say goodbye?
I will just say, if you're bored, Sunday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the S&B Network, Antonio will be hanging out with Comic Cast.
All right. Awesome.
I will be there.
That'll be fun.
All right. Well, everybody, thank you very much for tuning in, and we will see you next week. Goodbye.